Hi friends, Juno here. I'm back with another pick a card tarot reading for you. So I'll have three different piles for you to choose from, and the one that you feel the most drawn to will be your tarot reading today. I found that my readings tend to take on this sort of healing dimension. I'm definitely a very spiritual person, and spiritual healing is sort of just what the readings tend to be taking place for me. So these are going to be readings today of what you need to hear to move forward with your own personal healing. And we're all going through healing on this planet. We're all learning lessons. That's kind of what being alive as a human being is all about. Each one of us is given this infinite possibility of learning and doing and being that is being alive. And so, as we move through our lives, we move through different phases and different positions and different opportunities and different ideas and different headspaces. And all of this is sort of ways that we can work out and through whatever it is that we as a deeper being need to learn and go through. And so these readings are going to give you a little bit more dimension on where you are, what you need right now, and how to move forward. So in a moment, I'm going to show you all three piles. You just, once they're showing to you, you pick the one that you feel the most drawn to, the most connected with, and then down in the comments section below, there'll be a link posted to the specific place within the video that your reading is. So you just click on that and it'll take you directly to your reading. But before we get into that, I just have a quick nature meditation video for you. This is just a quick 30 seconds of some kind of nature setting, and it's just a way for you to calm and come back into yourself, come back out of whatever headspace you're in, and it'll help you focus so that once you see the three card piles, you'll be able to choose the one that's the specific one for you. So in a moment, I'm going to play that video for you, and then you'll be able to pick your pile, and we'll dive right into your reading. Thanks. Hey there, pile number one. This is your reading. So we'll dive right into it. We've got a couple of different things. I've got rune stones, some oracle cards, and two different tarot decks. So let me just tell you everything that you got first, and then we can dive right into it. So for your runes, you have Lagus in reverse. Lagus means flow. It is the same root that lake comes from. It's about water. So it's flowing through things. It's moving into periods. With it in reverse, that can indicate a lack of movement, an inability to move forward. We have Otala, which is it's got a few different meanings. I've seen from different people some conflicting meanings. The traditional meaning is nobility. It refers to royalty. But in a more modern context, some rune readers have started considering it to be a rune of separation, of distance. And so I will be kind of merging those two different definitions into this reading. I think with it in reverse, it can indicate, looking at being blocked potentially, being asked to cut some people out of your life and questioning why you might be having difficulty doing that. For the Shamanic Healing Oracle, which is one of my favorite oracle decks, we have the Reunion of Souls. Ooh. And we have Integration. So at some point in the reading, I'm going to read from the definition book of both of those, because I think it's very, very well written and really helpful sometimes to hear multiple perspectives on these things besides just me channeling stuff. Also, this author's intent as well can be really eye-opening. So for your tarot decks, we'll go with first the traditional Rider-Waite deck. We've got the Four of Cups. We have the Three of Swords. We have the Queen of Swords. We have the Five of Cups. And we have the Wheel of Fortune. And for the hand-drawn deck, the one that I drew myself, we have the Two of Pentacles, the Ace of Wands, the Five of Pentacles, the Six of Cups, the Two of Cups, and the Hierophant, or Jupiter in this deck, because it's based off of the Swiss deck, which is in French. So, yeah, go figure. So, let's just dive right into this here. So, we can tell from the runes, they tend to give us this, like, larger dimension to where this reading is trying to take us. I get the sense that you are at a phase in life where it's time to move on from some things. It's time to let go of the past and move into a new phase of being. But I think that you're having a challenging time doing that, or even seeing that that's possible. So I want you to know right off the bat that it is possible, that you do have a new beginning coming to you, and in a way that's inevitable, but you do have to put in some work here. So we've got the Ace of Wands, which is all about the beginning of something new. So the aces are all the new, aces are all about the start of a journey. The ace card is the very beginning of the suit, and so it can signify being the overall energy of the whole suit, but it can also just like talk about starting something new, being in phase one, the very beginning of a cycle. And it's the wand suit, and so the wands are all about manifestation. They're all about the creative driving force of the universe, and our connection to that, our passions, our deep sense of drive to get out and do and to create for ourselves. So you have this passionate new beginning here, that's asking to come into your life. But in order to get that, you have to go through some things. It's time to rebalance yourself. You have the Two of Pentacles here, which talks about finding a way to gain a sense of balance within your life. It's a give and a take. In the traditional Rider-Waite deck, it is normally depicted as a juggler, who is juggling the two pentacles between himself, and there's an infinity symbol going between the pentacles. And you can see here I have sort of done that infinity symbol in my drawing. So in order for you to get into this new beginning, you have to come to a sense of balance within yourself, and you have to let go of some things and maybe some people as well. So we've got some indications here of where you've been and kind of like where you are in this moment, that is leading to some of the difficulty in moving forward in your life. And that's kind of coming from a few places. We have the Three of Swords here, and the Three of Swords card is all about heartbreak. As you can see, we've got this heart here, and there are three swords that are piercing it. And so the swords are all about the mental sphere. They're all about our mind and our thoughts and our mental body. And so the Three of Swords tends to talk about playing back these heartbreaks in our minds, being stuck in a mental place that we have come to out of some sense of difficulty in a relationship with someone else. It doesn't necessarily have to be romantic, though it could be a romantic relationship, but it can also indicate a challenging series of events that happened with any loved one, a family, friend, whoever. And you're having a difficult time moving beyond that. We have the Five of Pentacles here, which in the traditional Rider-Waite deck, it's normally depicted as two poor people who are outside and destitute in the snow in front of this church. And it indicates this sort of dark night of the soul period. It's a period of deep inner sorrow and anguish, of kind of like this like really, really hard struggle period that does sometimes can seem like it's out of nowhere. It's like being in that mode where it just kind of feels like everything is against you. So I think that you went through this sort of thing in the past, but the thing about the Five of Pentacles and the Dark Night of the Soul period in general is the two people are standing outside of a church, and so it's indicating this larger spiritual dimension that can come from these struggle periods. It's sort of like asking you to change the things that you've gone through, and allow them to transform you into gaining greater insight. Sort of like it's the challenges in life that make us. It's the overcoming of the struggle that puts you into the phase where you can find your inner strength and your inner power, and then you can harness that and utilize that in your external reality moving forward. So it's sort of like you gain more access to yourself and your inner power and your inner sense of being through this struggle period. And you know, it's never nice to go through painful situations. It's just not. And going through heartbreak isn't fun. And it can be really hard when you're in that mindset to try to look at it from a different perspective. So I totally understand that. But seeing the greater dimension of it all can honestly, truthfully help you move through it and move into a new way of being that'll be so much more in line with who you are as a person than anything you've ever gone through before. And that will allow you to be in a position to follow your dreams and to enjoy your life. Um, we've got, yeah, let me keep going on that dimension here. So, in order to get to that, though, I think it's time to let go of some of this pain that's come from the past. And honestly, potentially, you might need to walk away from some people in your life, some relationships, some situations um, where somebody hasn't been treating you well. Somebody doesn't have your best interests in mind, and maybe you've given them the benefit of the doubt a lot, but for whatever reason, things aren't really working, and it's not on you. It's stuff that they're doing. So let's read this integration card real quick from the book because it honestly touches in on exactly what I'm talking about. Um, integration. We are a sum of all our experiences in this and other lives. We all bring forward a wealth of knowledge, talents, and wisdom. One of the challenges is remembering who we are. We are bombarded every day in every way with messages on who we should be, what we should do, what we should wear, how we should live. These messages coming from the media, society, our friends and family, and even strangers can drown out who we are really meant to be, who we have grown into lifetime after lifetime. Find some quiet moments in your day to identify and start a relationship with that small, strong voice inside you. Pretty soon, you won't hear the other messages. Many times in your interactions with others, you hear that small voice that tells you something is not right. Your logical mind tells you to stop it. Nothing is wrong. Stop being silly, dramatic, overreacting. You may ignore your inner voice in a quest to fit in, to be loved or admired. You do not realize that your inner voice is warning you that the other person's energy is not matching their words or actions. Listen to your instincts about the situation or person. Okay, that was the one I was thinking of. So there's two parts to that. The second part of this card is what I was talking about. Being in situations with other people where, you know, it's just not right. It's just not good for you. There's something about the connection that's wrong. There's something about the other person where they aren't being necessarily truthful, potentially even with themselves with you, and you can feel that inside, and there's something wrong there, and you feel all this tremendous pressure to conform to potentially what they're doing and who they are, and you're being asked to start to let go of the concerns of other people and start focusing more on you and your personal needs and who you are inside. You have the Hierophant here, which talks about society and societal pressure a lot. It's like the tradition card. And honestly, for me, whenever it comes up, it's talking about this idea of, just like it was saying before, all of these shoulds, what society and our family and the way that we grew up and everything around us, it's putting on all of this pressure to be a certain way, to do things a certain way, to conform. And that's so antithetical to who we are on the inside. And you're at a point now where, in order to move forward, you have to let go of that outside pressure and find who you are on the inside. We have the Two of Cups here, which talks about, it's two different things. It can talk about either a partnership externally, or in this case, it's talking about finding a deep inner connection with yourself. It's got the caduceus here, which is two snakes that are winding up along this staff, and it represents this uniting of the divine forces within the masculine and the feminine that we all have within us. It's uniting those forces, uniting any divisions within ourselves, and coming into a clearer understanding of one being, of being who we are, balanced, a balanced individual. Here we've got this balance card again. So coming back into a sense of balance by reigniting your inner voice and your inner self will help you move into this new beginning. So Some more indications here that I didn't really talk about of you being stuck in the moment. We have the Four of Cups here, which, as you can see, there are these four cups below, and then there's one that the universe is trying to give him that's much better than those four, or than those three below him, but he's just not paying attention. He can't see that um, that the world, the universe is giving him an opportunity, and he's just fixated on all these things that aren't working in his life anymore. So it's sort of like I was saying before, being in this position where all you can see is this past pain and heartbreak, when in reality you have a whole new reality, a whole new world that's trying to come into your life right now, and you're kind of blocking yourself off from connecting to that because you're fixated on the past. We have the Six of Cups here, which is a card about, sometimes it can talk about happy memories, but in this sense, I'm seeing this more as being stuck in the past. Sometimes it can be like, oh, all of the good things in my life were back then. There were periods before this that everything was great. I had it all figured out. Everything was good, and now everything's horrible. That kind of mentality. But in reality, um, hindsight's 2020, right? We can all look back to our past and think about horrible things and think about great things. The reality is, if you were to transport yourself back to that moment magically, chances are there was probably a lot of not so great stuff happening too. So we can glorify the past all we want, but in reality, all we have is this present moment. The past no longer exists, and it's never coming back. And the future doesn't exist either. We're never going to be in tomorrow. All we're going to be in is today, right here, right now. So, in order for you to move forward in your life in a way that's happy, that you feel content, that you're able to be in your personal power and create a life that you really want for yourself, you can't do that unless you're able to live right here in the present moment. And it's only by letting go of your past that you can fully experience that. In order to live fully in the present, you have to let go of the things that are tying you to your past. And a lot of times, these heartbreak moments and these sorrows can really keep us tied to that, right? You've got the Five of Cups here, which I just want to touch on real quick, and that you can see he's lost these three cups below, but behind him are two cups that are still remaining. So as much as it's awful that he's lost these three cups, that he has experienced deep pain, he still has an opportunity to build something even better with the cups he has left. And in fact, he is now in an opportunity. He's lighter now. He's let go of some things. Maybe they left his life in a really hard and not so great way, but he's able to move forward streamlined, with a better sense of where he is in the moment and building something new for himself. Um, we have the Queen of Swords here, which I was talking before about potentially needing to cut some people out of your life. Um, Sometimes the Queen of Swords can talk about that, and I think that that's what she's asking you to do. She's coming in with a very clear head. She sometimes can seem cold because she doesn't seem like she has emotions, but she does. She's an emotional being and an emotional person. Don't get that wrong. But she's able to understand her emotions, she feels them, and she lets them go. And she moves forward with a not being reactive. She's not reactive in the moment. She doesn't let people or situations or things trigger her and pull her into some kind of place that she doesn't want to go. She's able to see when her emotions are coming up in that manner, and she gives herself the space and the time and the distance to let that go through, and then she acts, and then she moves forward when she has a clearer understanding of 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 how to move. She lets herself feel what she needs to, but then she acts and moves from a greater analytical understanding. So she's and she's sort of asking you to do that. Oh my gosh, this is the very first time I have ever noticed this. But she has a mala on her wrist. You can see she's got this on her wrist. There's the tassel here. I've got one of these. It's just like one of these. It's a meditation, a prayer meditation beads. So potentially, meditation can really help you as well. So she's someone who meditates and is able to connect to her inner intuition much easier. Because she gives herself the time and the space. She is able to let the chatter go, let the endless thought loops go by coming to a sense of inner peace and inner calm. And that is how she moves forward. And she can see when somebody's not good for her, right? She can see when she's being triggered by certain people in certain situations, and she can start to see some larger pictures from that. Is this person doing it to her on purpose? And even if they aren't, is this person really good for her in her life? And it can be really hard to let people go. Trust me, I know. But having strong boundaries with people is incredibly important. And she uses that sword to cut through any bullshit and cut through anything that's not right and come to a sense of inner calm regardless of whatever chaos is going on outside. And so, maybe it's time to cut some cords with people. If you want, you can Google cord cutting meditations. They're incredibly helpful. But basically, what a cord is, and you don't have to think of this in these energetic terms, but I tend to think of things from this sort of spiritual energy connection stuff. You don't have to do that. I can explain it in a way that doesn't like that. But basically, what happens is that we, through relationships with other people, we create a cord between us. This like energetic cord where we are connected to that other person. If you want to think of it from a purely psychological standpoint, that can just indicate, from a neuron perspective, when we communicate with somebody over and over again, we have these neural pathways in our brain that the more that you repeat seeing somebody or thinking about somebody, the more you're likely to continue to think about that person, to see that person, to be stuck in those memories. And so what cutting those energy cords can do is by symbolically cutting the energy cord that is connected between the two of them, you are, through meditation, you are connecting with your subconscious mind, because that's what meditation can do. Our subconscious mind acts as this, it's the background programming, right? It's what's happening in the back of our minds, and that subconscious programming can be really hard to access consciously. But through meditation and through slowing yourself down, you're able to get into those parts of yourself. And through these cord cutting meditations, you are telling your subconscious, this is a person that I am no longer connecting with. This is something I no longer want to think about. And you can actually train yourself. You train your subconscious to stop thinking about that person and those situations. So cord cutting meditations, there's so many of them on YouTube in so many different styles. If you want to be more spiritual, you can connect with the angels if you want to be in the angel stuff, but you don't have to do that. You can find one that's just purely on a psychological level. It's all symbology, it's all symbolic stuff. And by doing that, you can help attune yourself with your subconscious to cut through those things, and really help you move into this new phase. Because in order to move into this new phase, you're being asked to let go of a lot of subconscious baggage that's weighing you down through people and situations and events that have brought you to that point. But you can absolutely do that. And in fact, I honestly see that being something that's going to work out for you, because ultimately you have the Wheel of Fortune. And the Wheel of Fortune can indicate a few things. Sometimes it's like chance. You never know what's going to happen, or what comes up can come down. But honestly, for me, every time this card comes up, it's a good omen. It means fortune is coming in. Your fortune is coming in. So by moving through these difficult periods, by allowing yourself to cut out the people you need to cut out the situations you need to move on from your past, to allow your past to stay in the past. You can 100% transcend your past, and I think that you're being asked to do that. And once you do, you'll be able to connect into a much more complete, happier period, where things are going to start going your way. You're going to start feeling like things are working out for you in a really wonderful way. So the last card we got is the Reunion of Souls, because I didn't talk about this really at all. So let me read that from the book as well, and that I think will tie us all in here. There is a school of thought that says before our souls come to earth, we make contracts or agreements with other souls. At one point in time, we appear in each other's lives to assist those involved in learning a lesson, being a catalyst for a needed change, or to share in profound joy. When a person comes into your life to teach you a lesson, no matter the human form, no matter the human experience, this agreement is based in love. The human experience may have been painful and extremely challenging. Acknowledge the depth of love needed for this contract to take place, and then let them go. The experience may have been profoundly moving, but ended abruptly and without reason. Again, be grateful and move on. Cherish the lessons and move forward in your life the way it was meant to be. Alternatively, this card signifies a profound soulmate relationship, whether it be between lovers, friends, or parents and children. Cherish the gift given. Now, for you, I really do think it's that. Honestly, this idea that the painful relationships that we have, there is a school of thought that we agree to have these kinds of things before we enter into this lifetime. And you don't have to subscribe to that, but I think it's a beautiful metaphor regardless. This idea that even the most challenging relationships that we have with people, that those challenging relationships are built with the most intense love for ourselves and for learning. If somebody has deeply, deeply hurt you, they're deeply hurting themselves, and they're hurting their ability to move forward in life. And I'm somebody who deeply believes in karma, and basically it's just, the idea that every action that we take, it has an equal and opposite reaction. And so when we are so terrible to other people, we're inflicting that on ourselves, and we will receive that back to us in this or another lifetime. If you want to subscribe to that, I personally do. And so there's this idea that even the most challenging relationships, they take a certain amount of love, to agree to hurt someone, for greater lessons for the both of you, for both learning. That's a hard thing. That's not cool, It's not cool when people hurt you. And it doesn't feel good to be hurt, I know that goes without saying, but it's true. And I think that you've experienced some deep loss in your life, and that is a challenging thing to go through. But honestly, you are being given an opportunity, right? The Four of Cups. And this opportunity is giving you the chance to move into a new life. to move into a new way of being. And when you can let go of these relationships in this past and transform the situation from experience into wisdom, what are the lessons that this experience has taught you? How can that help you moving forward instead of hurt you? When you can do that transformation, um, it's going to allow you to move through life with so much more confidence and zest and and just self-assuredness, um, that, you know, will bring you deep fortune. So that's your reading. I hope that it resonates. I hope you like it. Let me know in the comments either way what you thought. And if you are at all interested in a personal reading with me, I have them available at my website, junodrome.com. I would love to give you one. I've got some really great discounts for YouTube subscribers. So please subscribe to my channel and check out the website. So yeah, thank you so much. Tune in again for another reading. I'm doing them pretty regularly these days, so thanks. See ya. Hi there, pile number 2. Welcome to your reading. So, this is whatever message you need in this moment. These are messages of guidance, and helping you with your life right now. My readings tend to take on a healing dimension, and so generally speaking, we all have something within us that needs healing. We all have something within us that needs help moving forward. So these are just some messages for where you are right now and where you're going, some advice along the way. So let's dive in. For your runes today, we have Kaunaz, which is the rune of openings. So this rune is all about a new start. It's a change in direction. So from being somewhere and opening into something new, it also means illumination, enlightenment. It originally stood for like a torch, so a light in the darkness. It is coming up with information, coming up with a new idea, and moving through that. For your other rune, we have Hagalaz, which is it's kind of it means disruption. It's can be sometimes kind of a darker, if you want to label things like that, but I wouldn't. It kind of is like this like come to terms moment, this sort of awakenings, um, seeing things from a new perspective after a dark, no, I don't like that terminology, after a difficult period. It's coming into a new understanding after something difficult has happened. For your Shamanic Healing Oracle, I'm going to read from the book for these because they're really nice and kind and gentle. But I'll do that when it makes sense. For now, we'll just talk about them a little bit. You've got self-love, which is a little self-explanatory. It's all about unconditionally loving yourself no matter what, and being your own center, your own heart, you know. And then we have Omens, which is a really nice card as well. That hawk energy is really cool. We'll get into that. It's great symbolism. Super helpful for coming out of some difficult periods. For your traditional Rider-Waite-Smith deck, we have the Nine of Pentacles, Hierophant, the Four of Wands, the Ace of Cups, and your final card is the Eight of Pentacles. Great cards. I'm really liking your reading. It's really open and straightforward, which is nice. So we'll get into it in a second. For the hand-drawn deck that I made myself, we have the Three of Swords, the Five of Cups, the Three of Pentacles, the Knight of Wands, and the Queen of Cups. So, let's just dive in. So I think that this is talking about your emotional journey that you've been on, kind of where you've been, where tentatively you are, and where you're moving. It's really nice. It's a really nice open spread here. So I think, you know, we've got the Queen of Cups here, which to me represents you in this spread. It's kind of showing your journey here. You're just like, you know, a person who wants to love and to be loved. You're nurturing, open-hearted, kind, very kind person. And you've been through some difficult things. We have the Three of Swords here, right off the bat, which is the Heartbreak card. It can indicate a period of sorrow, a period of difficulty, being sad, just having things not go your way in some situations. It's, you know, it's kind of a tricky spot. We've all kind of been there at times. Excuse me. Pardon me. Allergy season. So the Three of Swords is like, you know, talking about being in a heartbroken period, and going through strife and sorrow and, you know, sadness. We also have the Five of Cups here, which indicates loss, being in a period of loss. So I think that that's something that you're coming out of. I think that you've had some hard things happen to you in the past, the recent past, and they've been weighing on you. The swords are all about the mental sphere, and your mental body. So with the Three of Swords, that can indicate kind of repeating these hardships in our minds, having them kind of play on an endless loop, being stuck in something and not being able to get out of it. And with the Five of Cups here, like I said, it indicates losing something, losing people, losing loved ones, losing something, losing a situation, a job. It can be anything for you. But some phase of your life is over, and that can be really challenging. In the traditional Rider-Waite deck, it's normally depicted as a person who's crying over 3 cups that are spilt, and there's 2 that are left over, indicating that you have still something left. You may have lost something, but you still have something left. Mine has a little extra dimension to it, because I drew it with just 1 cup remaining, and the 4 have spilled. To me, this gives it an extra meaning, saying that though you have lost all of these cups, and it can be quite devastating to lose something like that, the fact that you have 1 cup remaining is showing you that you now have clarity. So you may have lost some things in your life, but that's given you clarity, because the thing that's remaining, once you can start to shift your perspective and see what you actually have left in your life, even though you've lost some things, the things that you have left in your life are now maybe you had been torn between some things before and didn't know which direction to move. Now you are very clear within yourself of what direction to move through. So that clarity can actually help you move through some of the difficult feelings, because you can take solace in the fact that you are a little bit more clear now about what your journey in life is, and you're a little bit clearer about how to move forward and who you are and what life means to you specifically and how things can be good for you, you know? And that turn is actually indicated here a lot in how you move through this and where you're going, because you're going into some much happier periods. Um, and you know, we have the Kana's rune here, which really does indicate this aha moment. It's like the light bulb going off within you. So this final cup that's remaining, though you have had this sadness, the final cup is giving you your direction, your you. You're finding yourself through this. Um, you know, because we have a new journey here. We have the Ace of Cups. The aces indicate very newness. They're the new start within. The aces are the very first card of the suit, so they are the first start. Um, and it's the cups, so you are starting a journey into fulfilling your own sense of inner well-being, your own emotional well-being. So you're starting this journey for your emotional fulfillment, and that's a journey that's really going to pay off for you. We also have movement in the Wands suit. The knights are all about moving and moving forward, and whatever movement within the spread. Um, and so to have it be the Knight of Wands indicates that you are moving towards your passions. The Wands are all about creativity, they're about drive, they're the passionate drive to produce, to do, to go, to move. So you are moving in this direction of following your creativity and your insight. So you've awoken this spark within you that's allowing you to move forward out of these darker periods. And you know, you have the Three of Pentacles here, which indicates working together with others to create something. It can be creativity, building something up together. In the traditional Rider-Waite deck, it's three people who have come together to start working on a cathedral and are building that together. So to have that three, you know, you have these 2 threes here, and they kind of are indicating, you know, this sort of before and after. So maybe before you've had some difficult relationships with others that have led to painful struggles and strife, you're now finding your tribe, quote unquote. You are letting go of people who don't work for you and with you and who aren't in your best interest. And you're learning discernment to find those who do work with you and work well. And now you're going to be able to attract those people because you have clearer insight with this Five of Cups here, with the final card cup remaining. You have clearer insight on who you are and what you want in life and how life is going to work for you. And because of that, you're now able to move forward and find the people who resonate with that for you. And you're able to build the cathedral of living for you, whatever that means, either a project or just life in general. You are able to find that spark for yourself. And that's coming from this sense of self-love. So let me read that from the book here, because it's really nice and comfortable. We always try to think so highly of the ones we love. We even give strangers the benefit of the doubt. But when it comes to self-love, many of us fall woefully short. To love oneself is to accept imperfection, embrace learning, and battle through the all-consuming fires of self-doubt in order to find the energetic balance inside each of us. Beware of the small, insidious voice that perhaps repeats the negative self-assessment you had as a child. Maybe an ex-lover or friend put a label on you that you've accepted. These self-judgments have no place in a whole, healthy relationship that is vital to have with yourself. It's only when you find your love for yourself that you can sincerely offer love to others. Yeah, so there you go. You know, it's really important to become whole within yourself first in order um, to really create a life that you're going to love and be comfortable in, right? Because we we can, when we're interacting with other people, um, especially if you have had difficulty in childhood um, with this self love, and I know this is something that I've dealt with. Um, when we're interacting with others, people treat you the way that they see you treating yourself, in a sense. I guess what I mean by that is that people will only ever treat you as good as you expect to be treated from others. And that expectation of how you're treated, those standards, ultimately come down to how you treat yourself. So the more that you love yourself unconditionally and respect yourself, you start to build this standard of how you are treated, right? It's how you expect to be treated. And so when you treat yourself with those high standards of love and peace and beauty and acceptance and understanding, um, you start to naturally gravitate away from those who don't treat you that way, because you start to see that that's not how you want to be treated. Like, you don't want to be in a situation with somebody who treats you poorly. You don't want to be with somebody who's awful to you and doesn't respect you and doesn't care for you, because you start to respect yourself. So you know the standard within which you expect to be treated. And anybody who doesn't treat you that well, tough, you know, goodbye. You don't have any problem moving away from those people. And that doesn't come from a place of feeling superior, quote unquote, to other people, or feeling better than other people. No, not at all. When you love yourself unconditionally, it comes from a place of love and acceptance. This is who I am. This is how I expect to be treated. And anybody who doesn't treat me that well, I don't have space for that person anymore, because I need myself. I need to be whole and love myself in order to live. We all need love and respect and gentleness and kindness, and that comes from within. We have to love ourselves first, and then we will gravitate towards the people who also love us, because we'll be able to discern between the two of them. It's about learning discernment for those who are loving and kind to us and those who are not. And we can set up healthy, strong boundaries around the people who don't mean us well. Um, Due to whatever circumstances. A lot of it comes from people who don't treat us well, probably don't treat themselves well either, and it comes from that kind of place. And so learning how to have that discernment is really going to help you. And I think that you've put in the work in this area, because you have the Eight of Pentacles, which is all about doing the work. It's working hard to come up with an outcome. So I think that this is something that you've been working on. You have that Three of Pentacles here as well, which is coming together with others to build something beautiful. So you've put in a lot of work, and you're starting to see things a little bit clearer. Um, and you're coming home. You got the homecoming card here, which indicates coming into a period where you are at home with yourself. So you're coming into more of a balance of you, understanding who you are, what your needs are, what life means to you, and unquestionably following that. Going against the bounds of tradition, you have the Hierophant here, which to me tends to indicate societal pressure, societal constraints. Um, he's all about he's the Pope, and so he is like the pinnacle of societal expectation and performative understanding. And so, you're not afraid to go against that grain a little bit in order to find your own happiness and your own peace. And and you're finding that. You've got the Nine of Pentacles here, so she's come to an understanding of who she is and what she wants and needs for herself, and she's in an absolute abundance. She's basking in her own private garden and doesn't give an F. You know what I mean? She's having a great time, And she's super happy now because she understands who she is, what she wants, what she needs, and she's unquestionably going to find that for herself. So you have that coming to you, coming from letting go of the difficulties that you've been through and embracing your new future where you put your heart first, you follow your heart, and then your heart will never fail you. You have the Omens card. Let me read that for you real quick here. Hawks are messengers. This majestic bird flies high and reaches the realms of both realms of the spirit. They bring back messages from both the seen and unseen. Drawing this card speaks of focus and intuition. Pay attention to the coincidences in your life right now. Focus on where you want to go. How high do you want to fly? When you see a hawk, someone is trying to get your attention. Pay attention to serendipity in your life. Be glad for this reminder that you are living in the flow of energy. Things will soon shift for you. Yeah, so there you go. There is a flow for you that's coming to you. You're following your heart. When you start to follow your heart, everything starts to fall in place. You'll start to understand life so much better for you specifically. Letting go of any kind of supposed to's from society and starting to understand what life means to you specifically. And that is going to really help you. The hawk perspective is all about letting go of the trees for the whole forest, right? Shifting your perspective. It's like you are stuck here on the ground and you're really hyper focused on the specifics of your life, maybe whatever this heartbreak was, whatever past situations hurt you, and you kind of can get stuck in a perspective, stuck in this loop of what you think life is, and it's like a blinders, and you're just like so stuck in this one little pinpoint that you just can't understand anything outside of that, and you just feel like you can only operate in this one little blinder spot. But the hawk imagery is telling you that you can let that go for a moment. Let go of where you are right now. Let go of everything that's happened to you and fly above it. Fly high, 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 high up in the sky. Let go of this little pinpoint ant perspective and see the entire landscape, the entire vistas all across the horizon. You know, you've got this perspective. You know, it's even like shifting into a spiritual and cosmic perspective where you start to see that this life isn't even the only thing that exists, you know? And you don't necessarily have to subscribe to the idea of multiple lives and coming back and learning lessons, but I find that to be really helpful sometimes to take a step back and say, okay, as much as I know that this is where I am in this moment, things are so much bigger in this moment because this moment is massive. There's so much here. You know, you start to look at the universe and the stars, and you can start to see from this like massive universal perspective that we're only one pale blue dot in a vast cosmos. You know, there's so much open to us, and so much that we don't know, and so much that we can learn, and so much that we can do and enjoy and be. And you know, this card is kind of talking about that. And you know, the more that you start to let go of anything that's done you wrong in the past and start to see that you have this open flow for yourself, this open movement of who you are and what you want, this final cup that's being presented to you, you start to see that there's so much available to you and that you can live your life the way you want for you, that is open to you and it's always been open to you. And it might take letting go of some things and some perspectives and some situations that have happened, but once you allow yourself the freedom to let those things go, nothing can stop you. And you are moving into something so much bigger and beautiful for yourself. So, you know, you have a lot to look forward to, I think. But it takes, you know, being present with yourself, being here now in the moment. And the more that you practice that, the more that you know, focus on what's making you happy right now. Focus on this final cup that you have remaining. Don't focus on these things that have gone. Don't focus on what you don't have yet. Focus on what you do have. Focus on the things that bring you joy. Practice gratitude. There's some really incredible gratitude meditations on YouTube. If you just Google or search gratitude meditation, there's a few of them that are so wonderful. Eventually, I'm going to compile a resource list as a playlist on this channel, I think, with my favorite meditations and other YouTube readers and stuff like that. And so look out for that eventually. But anyway, this was your reading. I hope that it resonated. Let me know either way in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. If you'd like a private reading with me, check out my website, junodrome.com. I have massive discounts for my YouTube streamers. So I would love it if you could subscribe to this channel, and that will give you some discounts and some stuff. Keep an eye out too. I'm about to start and launch a store with a bunch of different things. I'm starting to make these malas with different beads and different stones, different colors. So I'll be selling these on YouTube, on Etsy eventually, but for now on my Instagram. If you follow me on Instagram at JunoDrome, I've got everything there. And then also I'm going to be starting selling my own tarot deck. So you see every session I use this hand-drawn deck. I'm also a printmaker, so I'm starting to carve out prints of each of these designs a little bit more refined, and I will be selling my own hand-drawn or hand-printed decks as well in the future. So look out for that. I'm not sure exactly when I'm going to be launching that, but I'll also have stickers and cards available. You'll be able to buy the deck card by card if that's easier for you, or you can buy the whole thing at once, or you can just buy the major arcana if that's something you like, or just the cups if that's what you want. However you want to do it. I'll have them available on stickers and note cards, postcards, everything. So anyway, that's it for me for now. Thank you so much for everything. Thanks for watching, and tune back in for another video. Thanks. Later. Hi there, pile number 3. Thanks for joining me for your reading. I'm excited to get started for you. So, this is a reading of what you need to know right now in this moment, what messages need to come through for you specifically. My readings tend to take on a healing dimension, so this will be giving you some insight on how to move forward with your life, kind of like where you are and where you're going, and some greater insight into just understanding you in this moment. So let's dive into the runes first. We have Thurisaz in reverse. Thurisaz is a gateway, a portal. It's this kind of entering into a new reality, walking through a gateway, a spiritual doorway, from one phase into the other. When it's in reverse, it doesn't mean that you're blocked from it. It actually can mean that you're charging through it very quickly. So that can sometimes indicate a swift movement. And it can also indicate sometimes moving too fast and needing to potentially take it just a step back for a moment and process where you are, where you've been, and that will give you greater clarity on how to move forward and instead of rushing through things. And then the other one we have is Ingus, which is fertility, life, new life. It can be new beginnings, a new start. In the other versions of this rune, it's more DNA-like. Excuse me. Pardon me. Allergy season. Um, so it's sort of that idea of DNA, of the new beginning that was always present within you. Um, this clicking on into yourself and your inner being. For the Shamanic Healing Oracle, this deck is very kind, and we'll read specifically from the book for these at some point, but for now, let me just say what they are. We have the Masculine Energy card here, which is this beautiful sunflower sun. And then we have creativity, this flowing water coming out of these cups here. Your creativity overfloweth. And we have, for the traditional Rider-Waite Tarot, I've got the Lovers, the Tower, the Moon, the Page of Swords, and Justice. And for my hand-drawn deck that I made myself, we've got the Six of Pentacles, the Ace of Pentacles, the Seven of Swords, the Magician, Le Batelier. This deck I did in French because it's loosely based off of the Swiss deck, which is published in French. And then the final card, my favorite card, the Sun, Le Soleil. So, this is great. Alright, let me get into this. You have two sun imagery cards here, which really is very positive. So you're entering into some beautiful periods. Perfect for summer. We've got the summer solstice coming up. This is a timeless reading, so you can be reading this at any moment, but this is a perfect card for summertime. And sunshine. We'll be having the summer solstice, which is the longest day of the year, most sunlight possible for you, so really rake that in. And sun imagery is all about joy and love and the new day. You've got this new beginnings card or rune here with the Inus. It's all about that. So since we're starting this with sun, let me just read the masculine energy card right off the bat, because honestly there's some things in here that I think can really indicate that that's a good card for this. The sun, powerful, a life force without which nothing on this earth could survive. The masculine energy is one of action, doing, creating, forcing. In nature, it is balanced out with feminine energy. When we find ourselves embodying this energy, we get things done. We are thinking, logical beings. If we reside here too staunchly, we do not have any room for the opposite energy to come in. Being able to effortlessly flow from one to another, masculine to feminine, is the pinnacle of being in the flow energetically. Sometimes, in love relationships, the energy turns topsy-turvy, and we end up residing in an energy that doesn't meet our highest need. This is hard to break out of due to fear. The fear of, I don't do it. If I don't do it, it won't get done. Realize that two people make up a relationship, and in an evolved one, the relationship itself develops its own energetic balance, a perfect combination of yin and yang, the masculine and feminine. If there is a void in one area, an imbalance will develop, and, as the nature of things, unconsciously we will try to balance it out. Being aware is the perfect first step. Alternatively, this card signifies a very important man in your life. Yeah, so I do think that this is talking about balance in a sense. There's many cards here that indicate balancing and the need to balance out any imbalances that are existing. And it's potential we're talking about a relationship because we have the lovers, but it could also be the relationship with yourself. So it could be one or the other. Um, the masculine energy is kind of the dominant energy on the planet right now. Western discourse, quote unquote, was founded in the masculine energy and sort of denying the feminine principle in the world at all. If you think about, if you've heard of the term the patriarchy, quote unquote, that's what that's kind of all about. Is this, our world is made up of this doing and receiving energies, the masculine and feminine energies, the creating and receiving, all of these balancing. Reality is meant to be balanced between these forces. We all have them as a part of our being ourselves. We all have masculine and feminine energy. We all have masculine and feminine archetypes within us. And so when we have a masculine imbalance, either in ourselves personally or in our society at whole, which is kind of where we are right now, there will be a need to kind of take a step back and balancing those forces out. So I think that you have that, you're in a period where things are balancing out for you. You have the Justice card here, which you can see she's holding the scale there in one of her hands. That's a balancing card. The Six of Pentacles is a balancing as well, because you don't see it on this deck, but in the traditional Rider-Waite deck, it's a man who is holding scales and is giving to the poor. It's about giving and receiving. It's you have help when you need it, and then ask for help when you need it. You're there to give help to others when you can, but you're also there to receive help from others when you need it. And so it's kind of like being in this receptive and giving energy. It's all about being in that balance, knowing when you need help and asking for help. There's no shame in asking for help when you need it. And then knowing when you are able to give help and giving it when you can. But then also knowing when you can't give help, you know what I mean? Like when you're not in a position to give. Sometimes we're overgivers. Sometimes we're overtakers, and life's all about finding this balance. Justice also talks about justice, receiving the due course of something that needs to happen. It's an outcome of reaping what you sow in a lot of ways. It is our lives and the things that happen in our lives are a balancing act of the actions that we take coming back to us in either direction. If we put in the work to build something, to make something happen, then we can receive the rewards of that work and that action. So the more work that we put in to better ourselves, to work on ourselves, to work on learning, on growing, on building a life, the more that we will receive those things that we desire from an outcome of that. But then at the same time, if we don't put in the work, if we don't put in the time to build what we need to, if we're just dreaming about it and we don't actually put in any work, then we don't get anything back either, because we're not taking action. And because you have the masculine energy here, I think that you're in a period where you are trying to take action, you're moving forward very quickly, and you are about to be moving into a period of abundance, of trying to build abundance for yourself. You've got the Ace of Pentacles. The Aces are all about a brand new start. They're the very first card of the journey in the suit, and because it is the Pentacles, it's all about wealth, abundance, anything material, health, focusing on the physical plane that you exist within. And so it's kind of talking about, because we have the Thurisaz in reverse, you're moving very quickly through this gateway. It's asking you to take a step back and to look at the world around you, look at the physical world that you have built for yourself, what world is reflecting out to you right now from your past actions, and You know, are you ready to move into something new? You have the Tower here, which talks about a swift sweep of the world that you know. It's one of the major cards, and talking about change, the change in our lives, change is happening, and so with this card specifically, it's kind of referring to this major change is coming from outside. It talks about changing of your whole outer world, and it comes out of nowhere. So you have something coming in that's sort of crashing down some beliefs and perspectives that you may have had. And sometimes it can indicate something chaotic, but not necessarily. It just indicates that the world around you is now changing, whether you want it or not. You're entering into a new period of living. And that card sometimes can indicate being really stuck in the old way, not wanting to change, and that change coming regardless of whether you want it or not. So you're entering into a new world now, and you've got the Seven of Swords here, which can indicate deception. He's stealing. He's got this bag of swords over his shoulder, and he's sneaking away from the village. So he's stealing all of these swords from the village. And sometimes it can talk about being surrounded by people who are deceptive, but a lot of times, and for me personally, when this comes out a lot, it's really indicating self-deception. So it's tricking ourselves, and it can indicate being stuck in a perspective that's false, that's tricking ourselves. But you are coming into a new beginning where you're leaving that behind. And that's coming whether you want it or not. And you've got the Page of Swords, which is also another new beginnings card. The pages are the first start of a new journey. And you've got the Swords here, which is the mental sphere, ideas, understandings, perspectives. So I think that you have a brand new perspective that's coming into your life that's actually going to give you better abundance and help you stabilize the world around you in a way that it's going to be very helpful. You've got the Magician here, which is the quintessential card of making something happen. It's all about being in this flow state, being in this creative zone where you are able to tap into the very energy and essence of your inner being and harness that to make something happen. And so you have that possibility within you that's here for you. So you can make anything happen for you. Anything that you want in your life, anything that you'd like to have happen, anything that you can imagine, you can manifest that for yourself. And I think that you're manifesting abundance. I think it's here for you. And I think it's coming from your own inner creativity, your own inner drive. Maybe you're about to start a project that will be really successful, but it comes from understanding who you are and what you want, and allowing these new perspectives about life and how to be come to you. You've got the Moon here, which can indicate sometimes being in the dark about some things, and not understanding your own emotions. Sometimes it means that, but a lot of times it means tapping into your intuition and the inner being within you, your inner voice, your inner guidance that's leading you into a new thing. So I think that's what it means for you. It's like you're learning how to tap into your intuition, and that's going to lead to a lot of success for you and material abundance for you when you can learn how to tap into that and harness that for yourself and manifest from that inner being. And so let's read the creativity card here, because I think that's where you're entering into. This is a profoundly creative time period for you, whether it is in the traditional arts, music, or writing, or it could be a new curiosity about exploring the way to funnel your creative urges. To be creative, you need to access your right brain, your emotional, sensing, feeling center. Do this by trying things you've never done before. Get physical, dance, doodle. When we acknowledge and act upon our impulse to create, we are aligning our will with the Creator. In this, we can experience the flow of being on your highest path. Start creating and notice how time has no meaning anymore. Hours fly by before you realize it. It is not a struggle, it is pure inspiration. This card can also signify a birth of a child or a whole new way of being. Yeah, that's where you are. You're in that birth of a whole new way of being, harnessing your own creativity and potentially even working on some projects, working with your hands, making something happen. And creativity comes in all different shapes and sizes. You can be creative and, be a woodworker or be an artist or be a writer or be a painter or be a musician or, take photographs or garden or, anything with your hands. You could be a mechanic, and still be incredibly creative. So you have this creative spark within you, this drive, this magician drive, and it's going to be deeply abundant for you once you start following it. But it's going to take you letting go of the world around you, letting go of some things that are really holding you back, and moving into a new beginning. Um, yeah, and working on this inner balance. Making sure that the creative drive that you have is is matched with the creative, receptive flow, the feminine energy, being in a receptive mode, allowing your intuition to help guide you instead of just pushing and pushing and pushing, letting things come to you, letting the ideas come to you, being present in the moment and comfortable with where things are regardless of what happens, so that the things that you need to do, the actions you need to take, will come to you moment by moment instead of just like trying to force it into something. Letting things come to you and moving from that place, moving from this inner flow. And you're going to be in this sun energy. You're in this energy, it's summertime. Embrace the sunshine. Embrace the inner light within you, because that's really helping you move forward. All right, that's your reading. I hope that it resonates with you. Let me know in the comments either way what you think. And subscribe to my channel. I've got discounts on my website, junodrome.com, for personal readings if you'd like one, for YouTube subscribers. So please subscribe. And check me out on Instagram at junodrome as well. I'm posting little video snippets up there, but also all the other work that I'm doing. I am starting to make these mala necklaces and sell them on the internet, so let me know if you'd like one of those. I'm doing different stones I'm getting that can represent different energy centers in your body. If that's something that you subscribe to, it's something I do. We are more receptive to creative energies when we are feeling clear within ourselves. And so, honestly, doing energy work and energy healing can really help center your mind and your body in order to be more in this receptive, creative flow. And sometimes stones can really help with that. And meditation can help with that. These mala necklaces, malas, are all about meditation. They have 108 beads on them, and you use them for repeating mantras. And it's just sort of like you do it each time in each bead, and then eventually you have 108, and that's one way of meditating. There are many, many ways of meditating, so you don't have to do it just that way, but just a tool. I'm also really excited to announce that I'm starting to work on my own tarot deck. You'll notice each time I do a reading, I use my hand-drawn one, but I am producing a hand-printed one right now. I'm carving out different linoleum block carvings, and we'll be printing 72 cards, so you can buy a whole deck. I'll be selling them card by card if you just want to buy a few of them or start a deck a little bit at a time. And I'm also going to be putting them on like greeting cards, postcards, stickers, so watch out for that. That'll be great. I've got a lot coming, so I'm super excited about that. Thanks for joining me. Have a great day. I love you.